Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, here with fellow football game plan analyst Chris James at the 2019 Reese's Senior Bowl. Chris, practice number 2, the North team.
Yes.
Day 1 here at the Reese's Senior Bowl. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. What were some of your takeaways?
You know, the quarterbacks came out, and actually all of them did a pretty good job. The guy who did the best job, in my opinion, was Drew Lock. He showed that arm strength. Fiery guy who got the job done. What about yourself, Emery?
I think when you look at how well these quarterbacks play, I thought each one had a unique trait. That you talk about Drew Lock's arm strength. You talk about Ryan Finley's ability to make the right read. You talk about Daniel Jones's ability to throw deep down the field in one-on-one. So I thought guys had their moments throughout the practice. But I look at the running back position, as always. I will start there. I thought Michigan's running back, Karan Higdon, had a really good day running the football in team period. So he stood out to me initially. And you saw guys like Dexter Williams catch the ball well. You saw other guys have success. But I thought Higdon had a really good day here, considering that we had some rain early. And he seemed to be the only one that was able to find his footing.
Yes. Guy who actually made a pretty good play but didn't have the best day was Tony Pollard out of Memphis. Was impressed with him all season. I think it was more of that weather concern, so I hope that he has a chance to show off his talent on day 2. Didn't have the day that a guy like Higdon did, but again, he's more of that straight line guy. He doesn't have the footwork as his #1 go-to, kind of like a Higdon does. So day 2, hopefully he's able to showcase that.
I was also impressed with Keelan Doss, the receiver from UC Davis, who did a great job catching a deep ball down here from Drew Lock, who put the ball right on the money. Yes. But we couldn't tell from where our vantage point whether it was inbounds or out of bounds. But the fact that he went up, back shoulder throw on a rope, was able to make that reception, I thought that was big time for him. You want to see the guy from Cal Davis come out and make some plays and make some things happen. I know everyone wants to see Andy Isabella, who also was fantastic today. Yes, but you also look at Doss and some other guys along that receiving core that had to step up and make some plays here, especially in team period. Absolutely.
Isabella, as you talked about, I mean, there was a pretty interesting play that we know is going to be called at some point that Isabella was involved in, and it's just because of his footwork and how quick he is. It's actually a little frightening for some of the DBs to have to face that guy.
Offensive line, I look at Chris Lindstrom. I thought he did a fantastic job in one-on-ones, man. Talk about dominant. You talk about pass pro. You talk about absorbing, redirecting, and putting guys on the ground. Matter of fact, the entire offensive line for the North squad had their share of pancakes on that end of the field during one-on-ones.
Absolutely, and there was one in team where he put a guy on the ground. Can't remember the name, the number off the top of my head, but he put him on the ground, immediately stonewalled him. So they definitely showed out very well as a group.
Let's look at the defensive side of football. Defensive line, L.J. Collier from TCU, I thought was impressive in one-on-ones. I like his hand usage. You talk about a defensive lineman that does a great job in getting off of blocks, finding himself in the backfield. I know one-on-one tends to be more slanted toward the defense, but I thought he acclimated himself well today, considering the wet conditions, and won most of his reps against those offensive linemen.
It makes complete sense. I mean, again, the conditions did play a lot of the part early in this practice. Cleared up a little bit late, so you started to see guys be able to showcase their talents. And again, just looking forward to day 2, because day 1, it didn't give certain guys the ability to really showcase themselves.
In the secondary, you know, one name that everyone is talking about is Nasir Adderley, and instantly you saw how fast he was coming downhill against the run in 907. What are your thoughts about Adderley today in your first viewing?
Just showcased his speed, was able to get downhill, get to the ball immediately. He was one of the standouts today, as you stated. A guy who had off and on portions, a linebacker, a guy in Jermaine Pratt out of NC State. He actually, his pad level was a little bit too high on some of the tackles, but at the same point in time, he was quick to fill, and that's an impressive trait. Hopefully he's able to bring his pad level down and make contact the way that I know that he can. How about yourself? What's a linebacker that stood out to you?
Dre Greenlaw, Arkansas. It seemed like every time in 907 or full team period, he was the one making the tackle.
Yeah.
Great run fits, trusted what he saw, was able to fill the hole really quickly and make the stop. So I thought Dre Greenlaw of Arkansas did well. And on the back end, Chris Boyd of Texas, I was impressed with how he handled himself in one-on-ones. I like his footwork. He was patient in his punch. He was able to find ways to have success and reroute the receiver. I thought he did a really good job today.
And there was one play in a one-on-one drill where it almost didn't end well for the receiver. Boyd got there so quickly and closed on a jump ball where, you know, if it's a day on the NFL, that's going to be one of those plays that's going to be replayed because of a highlight hit. So he did an excellent job sticking with the receiver, even on the short routes or on those go routes. He was always in the hip pocket of the receiver.
So that's a wrap here from the 2019 Reese's Senior Bowl, day number 1, practice number 2 for the North practice number 1, but practice 2 of the day. So be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan.